Welcome, I'm Tracy Pa with another episode of Scope. Land issues has been affecting PNG for many years now, with many asking questions whether there are laws related to landowners participating in town and city planning, underwater leases, land compensation, and customary land rights ownership. The Constitutional and Law Reform Commission is tackling these questions and more for those affected. It has launched issue paper for 4 terms of references. However, the question remains, will the laws in place help the affected?
For the very first time, the Constitutional and Law Enforcement Commission, key departments and stakeholders launched issue papers for 4 terms of references to look at relating laws. This comes in an effort to provide a light at the end of the tunnel for impacted landowners. The 4 TORs are TOR 18, Review of Laws Relating to Integration of Urban Villages into Town Planning, Urban Development and Expansion. TOR 19, Review of Laws Relating to Underwater Leases and Waterways. TOR 20, Review of Laws Relating to Land Compensation in PNG. And TOR 21, Review of Laws Relating to Legal and versus Customary Land Rights Ownership. The objectives for the TORs are to identify key issues, inquire into the relevant laws, report to the government, and recommend to the government law reform proposals. An issue identified is landowner participation in a city or town, planning and decision-making. The city is currently expanding. CLRC and other stakeholders are aiming to not displace landowners but integrate. For TOR 19, issues of underwater lease and waterways include land ownership, ownership rights, user rights, leases, claims, compensation, and benefit sharing. CLRC and other stakeholders are tackling the issue of ownership and ownership rights of the land under the sea. The question still remains who owns which land under the sea. TOR 20 also saw a number of issues including the ownership versus transfer, whether landowners should retain ownership of land and not transfer upon acquisition, and TOR 21 with the main issue on whether minerals and petroleum resources should be owned by landowners.
When we come back, Purari community in Gulf gets flood relief, and coming up later, climate change emerges as major driver of amphibian declines globally. 4 weeks, local communities along the Purari River in the Gulf province have been greatly affected by the recent flooding and king tides, destroying farming land, clean drinking water, and land for homes. In response, the Papua LNG Project, through a disaster relief mission, have been assisting villages in its area of influence with food, rations, and medicine. From the villages of Hapiope, Aimu, Vai, Evara, and Kea Varia, the project, in coordination with the Gulf Provincial Authority, have been providing relief to these vulnerable communities since Thursday, 2nd November.
For almost a month, the Papua LNG Project team have been carrying out a flood relief mission, providing essential food supplies, household items, and medical assistance to hundreds of families along the Purari. Total Energy's Community Infrastructure Coordinator, John Cross, explains the crucial mission that will ensure 15 identified villages along the Purari receive the relief they need.
Several weeks back, we had major flooding throughout PRL 15 license area, and it affected the communities, the riverway communities that we live and work amongst, and we could see our teams that were going out and visiting the communities during this natural disaster, that they saw that there was a need to support the local communities and to provide some form of flood relief assistance. although we couldn't do anything immediately because this responsibility comes under the Gulf Provincial Government, we had to wait for them to actually come out here and conduct their own assessment. After that, they produced a report, and that report was submitted to Total Energies, and from there they were seeking our assistance to help the local communities. So with that, just over a week ago, Total made the commitment to mobilise, organise food supplies, emergency flood relief supplies, including medicines, bearing in mind that we knew the potential illnesses that would come after a natural disaster like this, dysentery, malaria, etc. They decided to commit, and within a matter of days we had purchased a considerable amount of flood relief donations, including medicines.
The river communities are in a vulnerable state, with these food gardens washed away by the floods. Not only have they been facing food scarcity, but also a lack of sources for safe, clean drinking water.
Due to continuous rain up in the highlands, the level of water has risen, rise to remain for 2 solid weeks without any sight of land for days and nights. Most of our gardens are buried by thick layer of sediments. The crops such as cacao, bean, cassava, ibica, pawpaw, and some bananas are totally destroyed. Previous experience showed that it will take some months to cultivate and produce again.
Karen kai blomi or one am bagarap. Only when brasa pulgo lo painim lo nuen am brasa pulikam one time canoe na lusim lo place na stop waiting wara go down. So wara no go down and brasa by stop osem. So wara go down and mi brasa go. Osem wasim saksa go. Cutting banana too, and good blood too much. I'm more bagarap one, so mi basa cutting sol na kariga, put a stop na mi basa sapim na kai.
The flood destroy all the garden foods, cacao, green vegetables, all the bananas and the cassava, all the garden foods were destroyed. And it took about 6 months to recover. Yeah. So now we'll struggle very hard to feed our children and the families in the community.
At Evara village, the Relief Mission's medical team consulted with over 30 adults and almost 20 children, many of whom are vulnerable to vector-borne diseases such as malaria, dengue, and fever.
We're providing the entire community with emergency food supplies, and with the message that when we distribute, it's distributed fairly amongst them. When we hand it over to them, we ask that they distribute it fairly amongst themselves, knowing that they're a large community, and we may not cover everyone, but the whole point is that we are providing assistance of some sort, both food and also medical supplies where we can, providing they have a health extension officer or our own team doctor that's accompanied us provides consultation.
Same as here. Just now people are getting sick, cough, and cough is not really a strong cough, and running noses. And this type of children are getting diarrhea, that baby there. And our place to get medicine too is far away from us. Kapuna is long way to us. And also the Horokola side. Yes, no proper 8 post like that, and also no 8 post here. We used to pedal all the way, almost one day to get that hospital. But not good. That flood going down and all the places, mosquito. Mosquito is almost all of us here. We experienced the mosquito were sick. I mean, malaria. Malaria is worse here because flood going down. All the mosquitoes is coming out and place is covered with mosquitoes. That's why we are trying our best to stay healthy ourselves. But mosquito is not finished. Everyone are getting sick. One house, 3 people get sick, and just today is like that.
The local peoples, although hit hard by the flooding, are resilient, helping each other meet their daily needs. However, education, a significant aspect that is important to local economic development, is greatly lacking in the area. National Volunteer Service retired teacher Rodney Taria from the Southern Highlands province is head teacher at Evara Primary School. He hopes to graduate the first adult literacy class from the village and the first grade 2 class of 2023.
Grades 3 and 4, and I have 32 grade 3 students and 27 grade 4 students. This school was first established in 1990, but I've never graduated any grade 6 through formal education. And it has been a rundown school. Teachers have come on off for a few months, and then have never succeeded to any formal education for students here. And none of these students from this school have been product of any employment opportunities. So since then, this is my 3rd month of being here. I hope that with vision and dream, I will take these students in 5 years' time to 2027 by this grade 4 should be doing grade 8, and I should have 6 teachers by then to take them to grade 8.
Unfortunately, children of other villages, Aumu, Aivai, and Kaivaria, do not have the luxury of consistent teacher presence or even classrooms. Many of the children are sent to villages far away or to relatives in other provinces for better education opportunities.
At this moment, I don't have much lesson books to teach my children. I don't have something for them to write on. Normally books and pencils. Those supplies, nothing. I use my own pocket money to work a lot with my children.
The relief mission carried out by the Papua LNG Project concluded on November 17. Donations were carried out throughout the 15 identified villages along the Purari as a testimony of the project's value of standing together with the communities.
The project, it's a fantastic project, Papua LNG. It's going to bring about quite a bit of change. Coming from the infrastructure, CICD, which stands for Community Investment, Community Development, Total as a partner here in PRL 15 and in the Gulf Province. It has, in my opinion, made a lot of commitments in terms of helping all the communities that make up part of the project, impacted areas. centres, water tank programs. There's quite a number of things that we've earmarked to roll out into the communities here that will see a significant, in my opinion, a significant improvement to the lives of the locals.
Climate change emerges as major driver of amphibian declines globally, according to Watershed paper published in one of the world's leading scientific journal, Nature. Salamanders were captured in the publication. An assessment was carried out on these amphibian, and Papua New Guinea contributed to this data.
A study, Ongoing Declines for the World's Amphibians in the Face of Emerging Threats, put together by more than 100 researchers, has led to the publication of climate change being a major driver of the decline in amphibians globally. Climate change is especially concerning for amphibians, in large part because they are particularly sensitive to changes in their environment. The paper, published in one of the world's leading scientific journal, Nature, also finds that salamanders are the most threatened group of amphibians, and new emerging disease could have devastating results for salamanders in the United States and Europe. Papua New Guinea contributed data to this global amphibian assessment. Habitat destruction and disease are both well-documented causes of the decline of amphibians, among the most threatened animals on the planet, but a new paper analyzing 2 decades worth of data from around the world has found that climate change is emerging as one of the biggest threats to frogs, salamanders, and caecilians. The assessment evaluated the extinction risk of more than 8,000 amphibian species from all over the world, including 2,286 species evaluated for the first time. More than 1,000 experts across the globe contributed their data and expertise, which found that 2 out of every 5 amphibians are threatened with extinction. Between 2004 and 2022, a few critical threats have pushed more than 300 amphibians closer to extinction, according to the study. Climate change was the primary threat for 39% of these species. This number is expected to rise as better data and projections on species' responses to climate change become available. Jennifer Luke Swanby is Rewild Manager of Species Partnerships, Red List Authority Coordinator of the IUC and SSC Amphibian Specialist Group, and one of the lead authors of the study. Swanby said as humans drive change in the climate and to habitats, amphibians are becoming climate captives, unable to move very far to escape the climate change-induced increase in frequency and intensity of extreme heat, wildfires, drought, and hurricanes. Hence, protecting and restoring forests is critical, not only to safeguarding biodiversity, but also to tackling climate change. Habitat destruction and degradation as the result of agriculture, including crops, livestock like cattle and livestock grazing, and silviculture, infrastructure development, and other industries, is still the most common threat, according to the paper. Habitat destruction and degradation affect 93% of all threatened amphibian species. Expanded habitat and corridor protection in the places most important for biodiversity is going to continue to be critical. Disease caused by the chytrid fungus, which has decimated amphibian species in Latin America, Australia, and the United States, and overexploitation also continue to cause amphibian declines. The study also found that 3 out of every 5 salamander species are threatened with extinction, primarily as the result of habitat destruction and climate change, making salamanders the world's most threatened group of amphibians. 4 amphibian species were documented as having gone extinct since 2004. The Cherokee harlequin from Costa Rica, the sharp-snouted day frog from Australia, Crogesta milomilon, and the Jalpa Fallsbrook salamander, both from Guatemala. 27 additional critically endangered species are now considered possibly extinct, bringing the total to more than 160 critically endangered amphibians that are considered possibly extinct. The assessment also found that 120 species improved their red list status since 1980. Of the 63 species that improved as a direct result of conservation action, most improved due to habitat protection and management. Gina Della Togna, Executive Director of the Amphibian Survival Alliance and a member of the IUC and SSC Amphibian Specialist Group, said the rapidly escalating impact of climate change, coupled with ongoing habitat degradation and disease-related threats, demand a unified response from researchers, conservationists, and policymakers worldwide. Togna stated that collaborative action based on this rigorous scientific evidence is now more critical than ever. It is through partnerships and coordinated global efforts that we can mitigate these threats and make a substantial difference in securing the future of amphibians and ultimately our own.
Until next Sunday, I'm Tracy Pa. Good night.